Hello, hello everyone. Let me see how it's done. Okay, so let's get short. Okay, folks. So will be so this is going to be a short plan for the stream. So we'll start with the introduction, basics, setup. We'll understand what are the basics of contributing to Flutter. First, let me try to understand this. Am I audible clearly? Give me chat chatting window. The audio quality clear, an issue. Just put down in the chat if you hear some noise or if you can't hear me or something like that. Try to fix this. Hello, hello. Audio quality. Hello. Yeah. Okay. So this works now, I guess. So yeah. So this is the structure. Like we'll go to the introduction, the basics. We'll try to see how we can set up Flutter. We'll like find an issue. So I haven't like picked up a issue previously. I'm just starting with. I'll like just work with you guys to find a good issue to work on. I'll look at the current issues. I'll after looking at like if after we find a good issue, we'll try to understand how to like find a decent issue, and then we'll look at the structure of the Flutter framework, like where to code, where does the what is our like importance, where we'll be working on. Then we'll actually go on to solve the issue, try to deep dive and understand how things work and how we can solve the issue, and then we'll raise a PR for that, and finally we can do a Q&A session if you have any questions. So first, a little bit of introduction about me. I'm Viren Khatri. Like this is my alias. Mostly that's a fun fact about me. I'm Viren Khatri across all platforms. So I'm Viren. I have been contributing to Flutter since a bit over a year and few months, and I also I've been developing Flutter. Like I've been working with Flutter since over 2.5 years. Like I'll be completing 3 years in a few months. I have interned at two startups and contribute like done some freelance work a little bit, and yeah, that's about it from this. From my contributions would be like I have total contributed 28 commits to the Flutter framework, which is like I rank like the 88th among all the contributors. Uh, in total, like since the start. So since start, I am 28. Since like previously when the Flutter was created, and then since I started working, that's since my first commit was dropped, I'm 33rd. Just a few stats and like how like out of what how many like there are a total of like 1,000 contributors till date in Flutter. So yeah, and yeah, total like this is 28 is just specific to the Flutter framework, but there is also other repositories of Flutter, and there I've in total I've committed merged 38 PRs. So yeah, and let's with the basics like where everything starts is the Flutter says Flutter framework. This is the Flutter GitHub organization. The first Flutter and the second Flutter is the actual repo. This is the repo. This is framework. So it may be this is different from the Flutter organization because Flutter has more than just framework. It also has an engine and then pub.dev and then plugins and packages and stuff like that. So this is just the Flutter framework, and yeah, we'll be contributing to the Flutter framework today, like in this series. So let's if that actually wrap up the basics of introduction, and then let's start with the basics of Flutter contribution. So like any other open source org, all the if there is an open source org, there will be a contributing to an MD file. This is the file that we need to go to when we start with Flutter, start with contributing to any package, any open source package or repository. So this is the contributing to Flutter guide. The TLDR is very simple. It's just join Discord. Here's the like you'll find the Discord link here, and then be courteous. That's the code of conduct, and then follows the steps to become a to set up a development environment. We'll go through this basics of this, and then if you stick around and contribute, you can join the team and get commit access. This is something that I was fortunate enough to get. So like after landing like last year November, I after landing a few commits, I was able to get the contributor commit access. And then like what constitutes as a contribution? Let me share that part. Yeah, what contributes as a contribution? So there are a few ways to contribute. It's not just like raising a PR and committing. There are a few different ways you can contribute to Flutter. One of them is helping out with issue database. So this is uh, like if you can triage the issues and read the code of conduct. Like this is something that you need to follow anyway, but this is the hackers you can triage the issues. What triaging looks like, I'll show you like a sample issue. So whenever someone raises an issue, like this is a triage person, issue database manager, like person who will take care of all the issues. So like you can see, they add a tag of in triage, and then they go through the issue of is this reproducible, how to reproduce it, what are the steps to do this, and if there is some follow-up that we need to do from the person who raised the issue, then they do that. And then after everything is done, they just like approve that okay, this is reproducible. They have add some helpful links to any other issues that may exist, and then they'll post the Flutter Doctor Flutter Doctor, and in most other cases also they'll also add a small code sample. The Flutter Doctor helps in figuring out what was the platform that the user was using when this issue occurred. So it's like what was the Flutter version, what was the Android version, what was the Xcode version, and is it specific to a particular platform or is it general Flutter, stuff like that. So and then they add labels. So that's a framework, reproducible steps. This is like how is the step-by-step process available, as the name says, and then where and what versions are these found. So that's about triaging. Next, next is quality assurance. This is another. If most people will be aware about this. This is QA, where if you can just quality assure all the releases that occur. You can just work closely with triaging team and then verify that all the changes are work as fine. And whenever there is a release that happens, you can be like the first person to get that release, a beta or a beta testing all the issues, the entire framework for any possible issues that can occur. We announce a beta release. Yeah, whenever there is beta occur, you can read more about this. Then this is the meaty part that we'll be working on, which is developing for Flutter. So whenever you like start to commit, there is a good list of good first contributions that you can pick up. This is like we can look into it, but this is not where I've worked the most, because this seems a little bit like I still need to work on understanding how these work. But yeah, good first contributions, as the name suggests, is just good for first contributions. They are easy to pick up, but once you are familiar with the Flutter framework and not with like maybe other packages that exist, the non good first issue also are good enough. Like they are easy enough to work on. Then this is just the setup of setting up the development environment, setting up framework engine development and framework development. So these two are different. This is a mistake that even I made when I started with Flutter, of like setting up the engine development environment. I didn't read this correctly, and I was like, okay, the framework means engine, so I'll just work with that. So I set this up, which is very difficult and takes up a long time and a lot of memory. So don't do that. We won't be working on engine because engine is quite more complex than working on the framework. This is what we'll be working on, that's setting up the framework environment. So this is like describes the steps to need to configure the computer on the Flutter framework. Flutter framework mainly uses Dart, and the engine uses C++, Java, and Objective C. Which obviously, like, the engine is based on C++ mostly, and Java and Objective C are for the respective platforms. Then we have a tree hygiene doc, which is like a basic doc of how how to land the PR, what is a code review, how to handle breaking changes, regressions, and stuff like that. All your questions will be answered here. And then there's a style guide of how the code should work. How the code should be written. And then finally, a design doc template where if you are working on a new design, like if you bring a new design, you can like, create a design doc for it to get it approved from the team before actually working on the code. And this is like a very good video. Like, you can just watch this, the boring Flutter development show with Kate and Craig, where they take you on how to contribute to Flutter. Like this is a very basic one, and Kate obviously picked up a previous issue, so that it may not take a long time. But this here will be like trying to find a good issue and work on it every time. It won't be predetermined. And then a few more are like outreach, where you can help with like increasing Stack Overflow documentation, stuff like that. And then there's API documentation, where this is the documentation that you can do, where you can fix docs, API docs, and comments and stuff like that. So you can work. You can also raise a PR for that, and that's also contribution. Like people may assume documentation is not a contribution, but at least in Flutter, which is a very front end exposed thing where people will be constantly looking at documentation, this is a very good thing to work on. And then we have releases and social events. That's it. So if we go into setting up, so this is like a few things that you can work on. Setting up, you can just go through this doc, it's very simple. uh, and basic requirements are like you need to have Git, Mac OS X, and IDE, SSH client to authenticate with GitHub, Python for some of our tools. But you don't need Python anyway. Most of the software like Linux or macOS you'll be using comes with Python. So for framework development, you don't specifically need Python. For Android platform tools, uh, like Android platform tools is something that you'll need. So for Mac and Linux, you can work on this. You can use this. And the steps that I'll be going through for basic setup are similar for both macOS and Linux, but for Windows it may be a little bit different. So like just look out for that. You have like ensure you have ADB and you have stuff like that. So you start with here when you try to set up. I'll try to mimic how you can set up as closely as possible. So you can start with the fork. Just fork the repo. When you click on fork, it'll ask you like which project you want to go for. I'm already fork, so you can just select this and then just do create fork. And when you do that, you land into here. So you'll have your username slash flutter where the package will be forked into your Git repositories. Then you can just do after once this is done, since I did this a long time ago, like frequently you also get updates where the original flutter slash flutter has more commits, like the master branch has merged more commits than yours. So you can just sync fork here, which will pull all the updates from that master branch to your master branch, because these are separate repositories but linked together, linked one way, sorry, one way from your side to them. So once you have forked this, uh, okay, second once you have forked this, then you just need to open up your terminal, and in the terminal, I'll try to increase the font. Yeah. In the terminal, so if you have been working on Flutter, like if you are a Flutter developer, you already have your Flutter located somewhere. So for my case, like I have located it here. Like this is the in my soft directly that stands for software. So I just look at my Flutter repo here, and in the the source for your bash or your any of the script that you use, like your shell. Here I just added the path like the Flutter installation documentation says. So Flutter, you might have already done this part. Yeah. You may already done this part, but in order to set up your like contributing to Flutter, you'll have to do something. So you'll have to set it up in some way so that it doesn't clash with your uh, like the Flutter, your daily Flutter development. It shouldn't clash with that. Means you shouldn't have a setting where you keep on changing whenever you want to work with Flutter. So what I have done is I have cloned the Flutter project again anyway. So like if I just go into dev, then open source and then Flutter and then Flutter. So here is my Flutter like the Flutter uh, package for contributing, where it's in a different folder, that's development of open source, and then the Flutter org Flutter package, Flutter framework. And here is where I this is this if I check the get origin here, get remote get origin, this is my origin. So get at this will happen when you clone, this will happen when you clone your fork to your project locally. So this is like, if you haven't already done, you can just do git clone GitHub, oh, sorry, https or you can just use this thing. It's Flutter and then code and then SSH clone. Use SSH so that you don't need to like pass the password again and again, and just copy this and then you can do git clone here. So that will clone your package, clone your forked package, because all the commits that you'll do specific to this will occur there. So once you do that, your code will you'll have your package here, like the Flutter package, Flutter repo. And then if you want, then I have done something that you can also do in your ZS, like it'll either be ZSHRC or bash RC file for Mac or Mac or Linux, where you can add these lines, that is alias for master flutter and master dart. So what alias is, if you are not aware about it, it's just a bash micro macro, sorry, bash macro, where if you type this command here, it will use this as the replacement for that command. So this is just a part for my flutter contributing repo or the clone, where this is just dev open source flutter bin and then flutter. So this is the executable that will be used whenever you type master flutter. So if I just do master flutter dash dash version, you'll see that okay, it's building because I change this. It will take a second, but you'll notice that this is the master flutter. I can also like compare with, yeah, that's fine. So let's wait. Let's wait for a second for this to load. Yeah, so you'll see the framework. Yeah, Flutter 3.1 pre 2541 channel master. I haven't even updated it yet, so I can also do to update the. We just synced our master branch, right? Our fork with the master. So we can just cd flutter and then ggplug. Get origin master, and then it will just pull it for you. And now if I run master flutter dash dash version, it will again like download the Dart SDK for the latest Flutter clone, and then it will show you the version which will be more than 4.3 because 3.3, because we recently Flutter recently released 3.3. So yeah, master Flutter and master Dart, this is what we'll be using while working with like testing and stuff like that, building and running. So yeah, let's wait for this to build. And the so I'm assuming this part of the setup is clear. If And the rest of the setup would be IDEs. So how to set up an IDE? So I use two IDEs, both Android Studio and or IntelliJ, Android Studio IntelliJ, like basically the same thing, and VS Code. So I have the Android Studio here. So I just opened Android Studio, like just file open, and then the Flutter package, like the dev OS Flutter. This is a little bit small. Okay, that doesn't work. Let me try to zoom in like this. So, yeah, I'll get to it in a second. So yeah, this is just the Flutter repo that I've opened in Android Studio. So all the work that I'll do on Flutter is done here in Android Studio. But if I need to do something like test the Flutter framework, I open a Flutter package or a Flutter app in VS Code. So this is the VS Code structure that we all are familiar with. That's the lib main and then all the platform folders, Linux, Mac OS, etc. Build, Android. Yeah. So this is like a just a testing package that I've created to test Flutter. And like this, I told you previously, right, that some of the issues include a code sample. So here is where I'll paste that code sample and then test that how to reproduce it, and where maybe the issue by just command clicking and checking what widgets are called and stuff like that. And then this may be done. And yeah, 3.4. So yeah, we are on channel master. So when I call using master flutter, I'll get the master branch. But if I use just flutter, I'll get 3.0.5 because A, I haven't updated, and B, this is a stable branch which is sourced at flutter slash flutter. So yeah, that's it. So I hope the setup is clear. The setup is done, then we can work on finding an issue. So I'll take you through how I find an issue. Yeah, this is done and this is done. So like when you just go into Flutter slash Flutter, this is like the package, and just go into tabs of issues. Now I told you about the triage, right? How triage works. So triaging is when a person will just go through the issue, try to reproduce it, and if it is reproducible, it will just tag it with whatever is the relevant information, so that people can review the code. uh, Sorry, developers or contributors can check the issue according to their labels, and if it is not clear yet, they'll just keep it try to sync up with the issue raiser, whoever raised the issue, to check with what can be done about it and ask for updates. So just what I do is, since I'll be contributing to framework anyway, so I just search framework in the label. So this is the label section, and here I'll just type in framework, and this one. So this is the flutter slash package slash flutter repository, and here will all be all the issues that are specific to the flutter framework. The flutter framework is like the first boundary that exists just behind the app that you create. So whenever you use your widgets or stuff like that, that's the first layer that exists behind it. There are other things that also exist, like try to see if I can find something else. Yeah, plugins. So there are plugins also. So this is the plugins. That's the Flutter slash plugin repository. These are all the plugins that exist inside Flutter, and then you have packages. This one. So this is the Flutter slash packages. This is specific to all the packages that Flutter, that's first party Flutter packages and stuff like that. So there are other options, but we'll be working on Flutter right now. So we can check out the issue. So this is just that. What I do is I just look at the issue, try to first glimpse on the name, and then if I try to see if I am familiar with it, I'll try to read with the description, and if I understand the description, and I'll try to explain how I understand it, and once I do, I'll just jump into the code and try to see if I can reproduce it, and then change the code, and then see if it works. So the first one is just font family fallback incorrect after textile merge. So this says that if I set up the package in one textile, incorrect value of the font family after merge. Okay, so the original textile, and then they print the font family fallback with the textile, and then when they do a merge, when they merge that original textile into new textile, print that this is something else. Okay, so expected is the same, but prefix of font family is duplicated. Yeah, correct. Okay, so yeah, these both should, the fall family fallback should be the same as this. Okay, so yeah, they checked it out and they said, okay, newer version is released, and check it out, and they did, and then they replaced it also with a dart file. So let's check. Yeah, this doesn't work. Okay, yeah, correct. This is the expected one. I'm sorry. So, oh, someone has already raised a PR for this. So this is like a good tag to know that whenever someone has already raised a PR for this, means you don't need to work on this because someone is already working on this. Let's check the change that they have made. So they made the underscore font family private. This is just the test. Okay. Okay. So this was like updating correctly, but we were just using this one whenever merge occurred. Okay, got it. I have that is clear. Even if not, it's fine. So yeah, this okay. So I should have just checked this. So this is a good place, where you can check if someone is already working on your issue, on the issue that you think you can work on. So just check if the PR is already raised. It says linked one pull request, so you don't need to work on this because someone is already working on this. You can't. So next is remove file from integration things that can be generated. Okay, whenever you can also check the tags here. So this is tool. So this is the flutter tool. That's the flutter command line tool that we work. I am not much familiar with tool, and it is written in Dart, but it's a little bit. I haven't gone deep dive into it, so I won't be picking this tool specific one. Then this is long selectable is not actually selectable in list view. Okay. First of all, I want to say thanks for the great framework for this awesome. Okay, however, one thing needs to be fixed. Step to replace create a list view or a list view dot builder with a lot of items and long text at the bottom. Long text at the bottom. Okay, scroll it down and try to select all the text in the bottom, starting with beginning. The text being selected currently, and you can drag the handle to select it all. Actual result list starts to scroll. Sometimes selection is being clear and you will have to select it again. Sometimes selection handle doesn't work, leaves user leave 1 star reviews because of that. Oh, okay. Thanks for the response. Considering this, try using selection again instead of using it. You can do selected behavior. Start selection area, but flutter and master have the same results. Okay, thanks for the update. I've seen the same events. When you double tap the text area starts selecting, when you select some part of the text, but when dragging or scrolling, sometimes it resets the selection. Okay, so this is related to selection, text selection, and this is specific to the logic of how text selection works, which is relatively new. Selection area has been introduced to Flutter recently, and this may be a little bit like more mathy. It will be a lot of math in this. So let's try to see if we can find a more simpler issue. Next is proposal to create selected parameter for platform menu item. Create a selected platform menu item. Platform menu item. I'm not sure what it is. So like one of the helpful links to go to is api.flutter.dev, because here you can find like all the documentation specific to all the APIs that you'll need. And this is a place that I visit very oftenly, because whenever I need to understand how something works, like the documentation, checking here is like looks good. So let's check out platform menu item. So this is a class for menu items that don't have submenus, such as platform menu would, but can be selected. Okay, this is a menu item as platform menu. These menu items are the leaves of the menu item tree. Okay, and on selected will be called when they are selected by clicking them or by an optional keyword shortcut. Got it. So this may be related to the like hosted by platform, a class for representing menu items that have child submenus. So this is something like this. Okay, yeah, this photo that was sent here. Correct. So this is like a menu where you can open it and you can have more options, and these are menu items, and this is another menu which has menu items. So yeah, so yeah, this is that. Okay, got it. Proposal: add a selected parameter in platform menu item just like list style. Okay, yeah, if something is already selected, like view, yeah, so page this item is already selected. So okay, we need to add a selected parameter. Hmm. Let's see how that will work. So I am currently on the latest Flutter. If I do git pull the latest master Flutter, sorry, that. Yeah, I am on master Flutter. So let's check out platform views. So yeah, so we found a issue that we can work on. Let's try to deep dive into it. Uh, then we have the basic structure of the Flutter framework. So let's try to understand that. Yeah. So I'm not sure if you can see this, but I'll try to see if I can make it easier. this is clearer. And then yeah, so this is like the basic structure, and a bin is where all the binaries live, that is internal binaries, and then dart, and then flutter. So bat is for what, Windows, and flutter and dart are for Mac and Linux. And then we have dev is specific for development, where we have like tests and ci and bots and stuff, manual tests, integration steps, and stuff like that. We don't I don't generally work on this, but yeah, this exists. Then we have examples. Examples is just a basic examples directory that is linked to our flood packages, where you'll notice that it says dot zero dot dot and dot one dot dot. So these are the examples packages for all the like example projects. And then we have packages. So here is where our packages would be. Then we have a lot of packages like flutter, flutter driver, golden clients, localization test tools, stuff like that. So we are interested in flutter. And then flutter, this is the flutter library that we import. So you may remember we do flutter slash material dot dart whenever we import. So yeah, package flutter slash material. So this flutter is this flutter when you import it. Oh wait, oh, wait, okay, okay. You may not be able to see this. Yeah, so this is the flutter that we refer to. Okay, this would be this is going to be difficult. And then our the code that lives here is in the libsrc folder. So here, if you just uh, libsrc, and then if you go into flutter material, not material actually, uh, yeah, right, this is the material.dart file. So yeah, the flutter slash lib slash material. So lib is anyway ignored, so it's flutter slash material dot dart. This is the package that we import when we do this thing. So even if I like command click on this, you'll see that this is in lib, flutter packages flutter lib material dot dart. This is the material dot dart file, and this is nothing but it exports. This is a common design pattern for API, where all the internal tools will be exported in one file, so that anyone who wants to import it can import it using just one import. Yeah, so this is a material.dart file, same thing, that exports all of them. And the src is where all the packages will live, so everything that is specific to widgets, services, semantics, scheduler, and so on. So yeah, these are all the different packages in flutter. So let's try to see how we can work on platform menu item. So let's see what is menu item. So to search something, to figure out if where something can exist in Android Studio, is just double shift. If you do double shift, you will get a drop down to search. If you are in if you do contribute using VS Code, which I don't, like this, it's the reason why I do this. It's not very controversial. It's just a simple context switch that I keep in mind, that when I'm working on Android Studio, I'm contributing to Flutter, but if I work on VS Code, I'm actually working on the Flutter as a developer. So yeah, that's just a simple context switch that keeps the stuff separate. Yeah, try to search platform menu item. Yeah, okay. So it has label, shortcut, on selected, and on selected intent. Okay. So class for platform that do not have subview, obviously. These leaves of the tree, correct, correct, correct. See also this. Okay. Let's try to use one. So we'll jump on to the main.dart file. A little bit of water. Okay, I'll fix this again. Yeah. So let's try to create a menu item. This is very fast. I can just remove it all. And whenever you want to start something, like the Flutter shortcuts, we give mate app, which creates a basic Flutter app, and then it has an app bar, and yeah, we need to create a platform menu. So let's have a centered container and then a platform menu bar. Yeah, I suppose platform menu bar is good. Okay, so we can also add this to the app bar, I suppose. Don't even need body for this. Just use app bar. This may have a few required stuff, that is uh, child and menus are required. This cannot be const, so let me x const. Okay, so I have menus, and then child. Child, let's say it's just a container for now. What's that, dude? Can't be assigned parameter. Oh, okay, I can't write this. Got it. Let's just skip this and just have this. You can have it in the home. It's not home, it's body. Sorry, that's a stupid mistake. Okay, so we now have this, and then we this takes in a list of uh, menu items, platform menu items, and then it takes in a label. What is label? Label is a string. So let's just say sample. Save, and then let's run it on macOS. So basics of how, if you are unaware, you can just pick the like the version that you want to build from here, but since one device is connected, it will only show one. And if you, when you want to pick up a Flutter version, so now okay, let me try to get this thing clear. So if you want to use this, that's the play button that you like, the run button that you get in VS Code. You may not be able to run it directly because uh, here you will get if you'll be working for in Android, you'll get the Android. Sorry, if you're working on Flutter previously, you'll get the Flutter original SDK here. That was existed in my soft folder, which is the stable Flutter. If you want to add the specific Flutter, that's the master Flutter that you have just cloned, just do command comma here, or like control comma in Linux, or just open settings, and then here you can add Flutter path. Yeah, Flutter SDK paths. So you can just add item here. So I just added this item here. I can also add the soft ones, slash users slash slash soft slash Flutter. So if I do that, this is also added, and when I open this, I'll see the stable version 3.0.5 that I had previously, and this. So you can just pick this one. That's the one where which you want to which you want to test. So you'll have this thing, okay, and then maybe I'll have to reload window. Yeah, I got the start button, so I'll click on start and wait. macOS came up. Okay, so I'll just run macOS. So this is the logs. Let's wait for macOS to come up. Oh right, the first time you are building on any platform, it'll take a little bit time to download all the resources that it needs, and then it'll launch it. Menu bar may also have a label. No, It's menus, child and body. Oh, right, the child is empty. Okay, okay. So let's add a text instead. Text, and then okay, we have a menu bar. What am I missing? Let's need a little bit of documentation for this. Class repeating menus that have child submenus. Okay, platform menu. Okay, so let's not do platform menu bar. Let's do platform menu. And this thing requires label is open is close and menus. Okay, so menus is same, but it doesn't have childs, and label will be menu. Okay, platform can't be assigned to parameter type objects. Okay, this is imagine platform menu bar. Okay, okay, okay. Let's see how platform menu bar works. So we need a menu bar, which will have the handle menu selection, and then build returns menu bar, returns all the options, and then the child is a center. That's a show message. Message the center in left blank. Show message here using the menu bar. Menu bar is equal to menu containing items, three items. About three items for about. Document menu show message cascading and quit. Okay. Okay, platform menu is also a platform menu, not necessarily menu bar. Item group. Okay, then if it has menu, this sample only works on macOS. Oh, okay, luckily we're working on macOS. This will build a menu hierarchy like this: about, then group divider, and then hide show message, and then message, and then quit. Okay, and where is this menu putting? Scaffold body my menu bar app. Yeah, so this is what we are doing. Uh, for folks who are new, we are trying to work on this issue, that's create a selectable parameter, add a selectable parameter to platform menu item. So we are just trying to see how to add this check mark. You may notice that we get from like here this check mark in macOS. So we're trying to introduce that in Flutter because Flutter already supports it anyway. Yeah, so we need to add that check mark. So let's see. I'm trying to understand how platform menu bar works because I'm not aware about it. Let's see if we can find a video on that. Okay, I sometimes look at videos for platform menu bar. Flutter, responsive menu, not drop down menu, not navigation bar, not responsive menus. Okay, there are no platform menu bar examples. Let's just copy this. We already have a code sample that we will need. Let's just copy this. Oh, there's an error here. Oh, we found another issue. Oh, okay. This is something that we can like add a comment on because menu item doesn't exist and this throws an issue. And this throws an error. I don't know why this should throw an error like this sample. How is it passing? Let's also check that. Okay, this is a tangent, but okay, let's try to see. So this also happens sometimes where when you try to fix an issue, you realize that there is another issue that lies somewhere, and then you try to fix that. So that happens frequently, and it's not a new thing. So let's see. This is in okay. We can go into widgets, platform menu bar, one my sample. We can check here, and here it will be in the examples folder, and then widget. Okay, widget doesn't exist here. Wait, what? Let's just check in platform menu bar. So where's platform menu, and then platform menu bar. And here the code sample is in examples API, lib material, and then platform menu bar. Okay, I'm just checking this thing. Yeah, platform menu bar, then zero. So okay, this thing doesn't fail, and this thing, what? Oh, maybe this is a recent issue that someone has fixed, or maybe there is a new update that has occurred that has changed menu item to platform menu item. Okay, so when you want to check something that if possibly already exists on master and not on stable, you can just go into master API. So in the API link, sorry, the URL, you can just type master API. No, okay, it's not master dot. I don't think it's master dot flutter. Maybe I'm confusing something. It used to be master API. Maybe I am confusing something. To check this now. Okay, but at least we found this. So let's pick this up for now. We'll try to go back to it later. So yeah, we'll try to build this since this is a new code. I'll restart, and yeah, yeah, okay. Oh, right. So maybe that also worked. The one that I created, the menu bar one. I was just checking at the wrong place. Yeah, okay, testing. This is there, but this is not still shown. Okay. So if I now go into testing and then click on testing, now I have all the options that were supposed to be shown here. That's about, and then show messages, and then quit testing. This is menu bar should exist here, right? Not there. So show messages. I'm not throwing it short and stuff like that. Yeah, okay. So this is unchecked. Okay, so we need to add a check mark somehow here. Let's see. I'll just increase the size here and see how we can add a check mark here. So the platform menu item is what will be shown. Okay, let's see the widget tree structure. This is to understand like how things are structured and see how we can. So if I go into the menu bar and then the widget tree details for the menu bar, I'll see that I have a center widgets and then render. Okay, now this. Oh, okay. How would I be able to? Oh, right, I can't test this like this. Oh, okay. So what I'm assuming is, what I think is happening is, this thing sends the data to Mac OS because it's as it said, this is currently supported only in Mac OS. Um, this thing sends data using the platform channel to Mac OS, and Mac OS is the one that will be building this. Obviously, yeah, correct, because Flutter is not building this UI. This UI is not being built by Flutter. This just passing the texts, and this will be like drawing or sending the UI. So let's try to see how that works. So in the platform menu, let's go back into platform menu item, and when we have a platform menu item, what does it return? Okay, wait. This thing is a diagnosticable. Okay, diagnosticable is simply just something that can be diagnosed. Yeah, it has developing properties and describe child properties where this is like used for doing this, but it's not shown here anyway. So okay, let's see. This is not a widget. Okay, so platform menu item is not a widget. One thing, because obviously if it were a widget it would have been drawn by Flutter, but since Flutter is not drawing it, this doesn't need to be a widget because the data will be passed to Flutter, passed to macOS. So this will have the two channel representation and serialize. Okay, so this, okay, haha, as I said, this may be have sent this may send the data to macOS, and macOS will is the one that will be building it. So this is a two channel representation where it just returns a map of menu.serialize where we have this, and then we have a delegate. That's the delegate that is used here. The delegate is not even used in this. Okay, and then we have get ID, which is the ID. Okay, converts the given platform menu into a data structure accepted by the flutter slash menu method channel to the menu.set menu. Okay, the API is supplied so that the implementers of menu slash can share this implementation. Okay, got it. The serialize is for other implementations of menu share item. And then the two channel representation is converts the representation of this item into a map of suitable to sending it to the flutter slash menu channel set by default. Okay, and the delegate this is the requesting the deserialization. Get ID parameter function that generates a unique ID for each menu item that can be returned in the ID field. Okay, got it. So this is just a unique ID. Okay. So this will just serialize it. So now what we are looking for is when the menu when the platform channel receives this, how does it how does macOS deserialize it? Okay, this may get a little bit complex. Okay, this is a little bit complex. Let's try to find a different issue. We'll keep this issue in mind. Let's try to find a simpler issue. This is a good issue. This is solvable, but we'll need to understand a little bit more than just this part. So although we have understood the basic structure of Flutter, we still need to find an issue. So yeah, proposal provide a way to customize transforms alignment property of interactive viewer. Okay, someone is already assigned to this, so this is also like a notice where if someone is assigned to this, maybe they'll be eventually working on this. So maybe you don't need to work on it. Web back navigation with open drawer clears URL. This is something that happens in web. Okay, let's see. Long selectable is something that we're doing anyway, so let's skip that one. Back navigation with open drawer clears URL. So execute flutter run on the sample code, open the drawer and click on page ID. On the new page, open the drawer and then navigate back to the browser using the backcode. This is a bug I found in a web project also using material.router. So if I open a drawer and then click on page ID, I go to a page, but if I open the drawer again, go back, it just clears the URL. Okay, hello, thanks for finding this issue. Wait, did he already do that? Oh, that's the zip that he created. It's a bit code. Then this thing. I can reproduce this. Yeah, so this is something that the triage folks will do, where they'll have. Let's see. Okay, this may be a little bit specific to web. Again, something that platform channels will work because when back button is initiated from web, it'll go to Flutter and then Flutter will handle that back button. Let's also put this a little bit on hold because it's not just working primarily on the API. It's working on the API and the platform implementation. Maybe this is just a guess. Let's try to understand something else. Let's try to see if we find a simpler issue. Rewrite static class enumeration with the new enum class. Okay. we have multiple internal enumeration implementations with static const, such as floating label alignment and input text. Oh, floating label alignment is something that I have created, FYI. This was a API that I created. Okay, anyway, text input type, we could possibly make them implemented using the new enum class. So before and after is just an example, not actual code in the code in the package. Before this text input type, this had a constructor and then text. Oh, okay. Multiple enumerations with static const. So okay, so there are static const, but now, oh right, so Flutter recently introduced the what is it, arguments in enums. Previously, arguments were not supported in Dart. Actually, Dart, not Flutter. Previously, Dart didn't support adding arguments to enums, but now it was added. So this is just a proposal to migrate all the classes that work similar to enums, but don't import it because, well, uh, it wasn't present previously. But now this is just a request to migrate them. I agree. Feel free to make a PR, but that I'm there is something that I'm looking for. In order to deprecate describe enum, you need to transform semantic action into an enum, which is specifically tricky given that it overrides values, but it is doable. Okay, I agree. Feel free to make a PR. Okay. Oh, right. These are both members, so they're just communicating. I got confused for a minute. Yeah. Okay. These are just communicating. Like this is a contributor has been working since a long time, and he's just going to commenting that he can make a PR. But there is something I'm looking forward to in order to deprecate describe enum. Okay, so enums have describe enum. Why do we need to deprecate describe enum? Describe enum. Let's see. Describe enum. Oh, okay. This is just how enums need to be described and what are the usages for this. Find usages. Something like value to string that is passed into enum property. Oh, oh wait, enum property. Okay, this is let's try to see an example. Widgets and then this thing. ToString and then describe enum access, which is access and access is enum. Okay, okay, okay. So these are okay, got it. So when we have a widget and that widget has one of the arguments as an enum, and when that we need to describe that enum when we do ToString, this is when we use it. So this thing, yeah, when you do ToString for glow controller, let's say, so it should involve color and then access, and access, since access is an enum, it should be described. So this is the implementation for describe enum, which takes in a object of an enum. Okay, so we need, okay, so now since enums can have two strings, we can deprecate describe enum. That's what this comment means. When we deprecate this, we need to transform semantics action into an enum. Semantics action. Oh, okay, this is something that involves. So whenever this turns yellow, this means that this is outside the Flutter framework, and this is in Sky Engine, which is the engine, Flutter engine. Okay, let's. This is not that difficult to do, but it involves a few not prerequisites, but actually parallel stuff that we can do along with this, which when done would complete the entire thing. So this is again, this is a little bit big to do, not very easy. Exposing form states underscore fields. Use case: the form widget can be a powerful tool as it catches at it caches and can interact with all its children from field without having to manually track them through keys. Agreed. This is useful for a couple built-in feature, a couple built-in, it's built-in, okay, built-in features like submitting and saving, but blocks the user from creating its own implementation like this, which is adding submit to form widget. Add submit implementation form widget. Okay, was this also raised by him? Yeah, correct. So this PR is raised by the creator of the show itself. So make the form state dash underscore fields value into public field so that we can use to extend its functionality. So form state has the current fields list of fields. This would allow us to implement our own extensions that would, for example, make this doable for the user. Okay, this is also something we need to do a lot more deep dive. Uh, Pan gesture doesn't perform as expected. Text anti-aliasing broken in Flutter. Okay, anti-aliasing is text related. Then Cupertino example. Run sample analysis on Flutter. This is related to the engine. Not we won't be able to work on that. Implement natural 13 page transition. This is a very long PR. This would be a long implementation. Choice chip. Okay, this is something that we can do. Choice chip icon theme being ignored. Oh, someone is already assigned this. Oh, right. Darren was the one who worked on this, the entire chip migration. Not sure if this is related. Yeah, there are two issues that are two PRs that are linked. So they added icon theme to choice chip. Wait, didn't it already ignore it? Wait, yes, this added. Oh, raw chip. Oh, okay. It ignored it, meaning it did. It wasn't passing it. Correct, 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 correct. So this is just the tester.pub widget. Let's see. Why is there a new line? Yeah. Why is there a new line here? I was just checking. Like this is a new line, not on the same line. Okay. And then test widget. Choice chip. Oh, this is a review anyway, so let's not get into that. We can review sometime later. Make most shapes lerp. New feature proposal. Right now, half of the shape can lerp into another, but not from another. You can lerp from a circle border, but not circle border. Click here. Check here. This is a very good. Something like this will solve our issue. Do we want it? Is this implementation fine? Okay, so this is a good issue type where they found a issue, they have explained it, and they have solved the issue and then asked like, is this issue implementation file fine? Okay, let's see. Star border, rectangular border, stadium border, circle border. Oh, it's supposed to okay, something like this would work for all our issues. So they imported and then yeah, this should be anyway like be love from and then stadium border love from circle border. Yeah, this should work fine. If it is rounded, if B is rounded rectangular border, B dot love from. If it's stadium border, love from. And this seems fine. Like this is a good issue, but it's already solved. These both are assigned. Application selected. Okay, this is taking a long time. Button dot copy without method. As suggested by such as this review comment, copy without would be a nice addition and would be consistent with menu style dot copy without. Tagging a task user who has good knowledge on particular task. Oh, he assigned it to Taha. Okay, maybe I'm pronouncing his name incorrectly. I'm sorry. Um, comment for the sake of consistency, we should have copy without method button style. Oh, okay. Menu style has copy without, and then once menu style class lands this with this feature, it makes sense to include it in virtual size appropriate extent. Yeah, that is a good point. Because maybe not. I mean, I don't see why we need to wait for this. I don't see why we need to wait for adding this. What? Oh, okay, okay. It's just something different. Menu bar, menu bar, that is menu style, menu bar, menu theme, menu style button, menu style. So, oh, that's a big diff because it's created. Okay, and then there's also copy without in this menu style. Okay, this may be something that we can in textile at least if button style is done by. Okay, I'll keep this. Oh, right, it's master hyphen API. Okay, okay. It's master hyphen API flutter dot dev. Oh, it's not master flutter, it's master. Yeah, okay. Then now if we check platform menu item, this. Oh, not menu item actually. Platform menu bar. This thing should have platform menu item. Correct. Yeah. Okay, so this is a change that has occurred recently. Okay. Because this is fixed in website. This uses this cause exceptions. Oh, visit this selection click on run and run and request this. That's for it because selection is not defined in stable branch. Okay, part link to show. Notepad accepts server URL from the environment stated here. So I'm guessing we have a wrong environment set up during build, but master API doesn't seem like a valid server. This is an infra issue. It says it's an infra issue. So removing persistent frame callback. What? Persistent frame callback is removed. I'm wondering, is there any reason behind not providing a way to remove persistent callback? Oh, remove. Okay. It's removing a specific callback, not the API. I'm wondering if there is a reason behind not providing a way to remove a persistent callback widget binding, because as far as I checked the code, there shouldn't be any problem with removal of a button. In my use case, I need to listen to every frame and check my address for a widget, but I'm not happy with the callback being kept forever. Documentation looks like it's not possible. Anyways, I'll label this issue so that it can get some more stuff from the team. Thank you. Thanks for the reply. Yes, I am aware, and here is a PR. What? I should check these things before making things. Okay. Oh, he added his name too. Yeah, you can also do this. Like there is an author's file that is in the root directory of the package, and you can just add your name and email when you commit. I'm not sure if adding this name, like just creating a prior to add this name, counts as contribution, and you are certainly now the author. I don't know how that works, if that works. Channel is comes in called twice, and then he removed it and then added rest for it. Okay, this was a good thing that we could have worked on. Oh wait, it doesn't stay here. This may be very recent, like the PR that he raised. It's 4 days ago. Why doesn't it show here? Okay, option for adjusting angle of horizontal scroll. Tap bar view. Currently, tap bar sensitivity is detecting horizontal scroll is quite massive. Create an option something like 0 to 1. So because when user scrolls vertically, finger gestures are not completely vertical. It is somewhere between vertical and lots of times I encounter situation where tap bar is scrolling horizontally even if I intended it to scroll vertically. Please work around, please let me know. Thanks for letting the show. Okay. Current horizontal scroll starts if detected distributed for the horizontal scroll started. Suggesting horizontal starts if detected horizontal scroll started. Thanks for the detailed sample, but I see there's an open issue that the case you're describing is prior to vertical scrolling on horizontal shade. Okay, this is again an issue. I see the difference from I can see the differences on the two issues. Maybe this issue from further insights on the issue. Okay, this is a different issue because this just says about priority, but this one is more specific to approach for the workaround is different. Comment. This is mentioning that I'm customizing the gesture and think it's not even developed yet, and I'm asking for a more customized angle gesture. I don't think ankles will work here because that's not how scrolling works. Like it's just when we get how much is scroll, we just get the two components, and we just like the Flutter just figures out that how where should it scroll. That's what my understanding is as of now. Color overlay overlay color is not working when color is set to table decoration. Option for adjusting also. Okay, this looks like a good PR that we can work on. P4 is works we are likely to work on. Add box steps to add box preparation to table row widget. Add table row ink well inside table row color property. Hover about the widget and observe its behavior. Expected results: the color of the widget should be changed to overlay color when hovering. Actually, it's same as block color when we have the same. So with color to a table row widget and the ink well inside it with overlay color property. Okay, let's see. Okay. Hi, thanks for finding the issue. Resume stable and master removing when removing flutters decoration overlay works as desired. No issue has been reproduced. Demo with decoration without decoration. Okay. Sample CC display. Okay, this is something that we can work on. This is like a very framework issue. So the little bit of context. This generally what this works is how this works is there may be priority set where the table row prioritizes has prioritized the overlay color when the decoration is not received. So let's check the code sample and just run this issue. So code sample I generally pick from the review, like the triager, the reviewer who reviewed this issue to test. So let's just do command v. There are issue. Oh, localization. I don't need localization. So without this even is fine. I don't think localization is required. Let's restart and yeah, here we have and simple table row. Close this and let's see the code. So this is a material app, added locals. These are not required to test because these are very specific. Okay. We have a home page and then home page has a scaffold, app bar, center column, and then we have a table with a table row, and table row has a decoration which says color say cyan, and then we have a table row inkwell which has overlay color. But if I don't add this, so you're telling me this works. Okay. Huh. If I add this but I don't add the color, does it still not work? No, it works. So it's just the color issue. Like it's not like the box decoration is preventing this from getting. It's just the color is not picked up correctly. Like the child is picking up this decoration but not prioritizing it when overlay color is already given. So let's just jump into table row equal. Where is my yeah? Let me close all the current open ones. Let's jump to table row. Actually, table row equal. Yeah. So table row equal has the overlay color and wait, why can't I? Okay, ink response. Wait, what? Oh, it's super. Okay. So this is just passing it to super content. Why won't super work in that case? Because anyway, this is ink response, and ink response is not dependent on. Uh, okay, let's see table. Sorry, table row. For table row, if decoration is given, it's used for toString and then used here. So row decorations is child of any row decoration. If then children dot map row decoration table row decoration to stock false and then it's return file. So when I pass a decoration, I'm assuming this thing also takes decoration. No, it doesn't. Let's check something. So when I have been given an overlay color and this will work like this. So we have the response state widget. Does the overlay happen? So I'm checking if the actual overlay happens. Uh, I'm still in debug state. Oh wait, I missed it. Wait. It's my state widget. It's a stateful widget. Okay. And where's the ink overlay color? This is used here. So get highlighted color type. So we get the resolved overlay color, and this is then if it's best, focused or hovered. Okay, so if it's hovered, then the overlay color will be hover overlay color, and this is used right here for the color in ink highlight. Okay, so this is finally ink highlight. Where else this is used? This is used in build. What's the difference between this ink highlight and that build? It's update highlight. So this just changes the highlights. And then finally we have overlay color where the highlight. Okay. This is I suppose the initialization where highlights for all the highlights. It's a map of highlight and ink highlight. Okay. Yeah, so this is just what should happen when something is overlaid to this. So highlights, and this is used. Let's see. Highlight or dispose, and then oh, this is when something is removed. Highlight is a highlight of type, and then ink removal type, and then value. It updates, and then it has a switch of on over call. Okay, so there is an on over call. So if there is a call on over, then this happens. I don't think table this thing has the on over callback. Okay, this thing doesn't have an on over callback. So let's just add a simple print statement here. So let's see if even on over is called. Or actually we can also add it here in the tables. Huh. I'm just checking if even this call is skipped. Okay, is there something? What's const? Oh, I can't use const here. If I add a factor here, print on called. What's this error? Ultimate function one can be bool. Okay. Oh, actually, what I'm saying. Bool question mark something. I don't know what this is. I can also print something. Let's say. Okay, now I'll go back to the code and see. So So since I'm using the same flutter, the latest one, it will just be syncing up with that flutter that I have been using. So now I can just check the logs in debug console. That okay. On hover true, on hover false is called. On hover is called without the decoration. So what about with decoration? Where's oh this is very fast. Where is decoration that I commented? Right color, sorry. Yeah. If it is with color, now if I hover, okay, hover is still called. Hover is still called. So hover is not the issue. Call this const again. For table, so for equal, when the overlay color comes, redirect callback the parent. Okay, so equal if I am giving a overlay color, how does the decoration pass in? So how did this guy even get decoration? We have children dot any. So it goes through all of them. If anything has decoration null, so row decorations. But this is in children. This is not a row decoration. If you go into the code, the table and the table row. This is for table, I'm assuming. Yeah, yeah, yeah. This is not for table row. Yeah, this is for table. Man, I'm not checking for table. I'm checking for table row. So this is just that if a decoration is applied to a row, it's checking that if does a table row have a decoration assigned. If not, then assign the decoration that is added here. It just doesn't even have decoration. What? Oh, it's getting. Stupid. It's just getting. It's not applying. It's getting that if a row decoration is non-null, then it will map that row decoration to. It will map that row to row decoration. So this is just getting all the decorations. Okay, that's it. But we are interested in this row decoration. That it receives the decoration. It prints. It is printing the decoration. But where is it using it? Oh right, this is fetched here now in table, correct. So this is saving it in row decorations for all the rows and then passing it into render table and then has option. So what render table says? Let's see. In render table, given row decorations, it will be assigned to a local variable for row decorations. Where is it? Oh right, yeah. This dot row decorations, and this is used. So I'm scrolling using these green marks if it is visible. Like, I'm just scrolling using these green marks to check where other places row decoration is used. So whenever it is set, row decoration is set, it has a painter. Okay, okay, this is tough. So all the children in table row use this, but when an overlay occurs, hmm. So whenever row decoration is set, if the value is same, it will return. Otherwise, it will set it and then it will check if the painters are non-null. If painters are non-null, it will dispose all of them and then create a new one. So it checks that if row decoration, it sets the row decoration painters. It creates a new list painters, list of box painter. It creates a new it's filled with all nulls. for this, and this is used here. Detach, okay, not concerned in paint. Okay, yeah, paint. So no decoration is not length. Color is not mentioned here. Okay, this is not something like that easy that I expected. Okay, table. Let's start fresh. I'm confusing myself. Hover is called, but the color with which it should be decorated is not correct. This means that when hover is called, the color that this guy is assigning is incorrect. So it has the resolved overlay color. State controller dot value. Yeah, okay, state. That's the states. Okay, okay, yeah. And then if it is pressed, it will be highlight color. If it is not, it will be focus color. Else it will be over color. Otherwise theme. Is theme? Would theme pick it up from there? Okay, let's check with this guy. Just inspector. So how to keep this on top for now. Let it be. Okay. I have the mitigation button bar and then details. So for details, we have the ink state response in equal. We have a gesture detector, raw gesture detector, text, which is just sample, and then rich text. Okay, not what we are interested in. Semantics, mouse region, focus color, action marker. Focus marker, mouse region, semantics, gesture detector, raw gesture detector, listener, and then text. Text has text align, soft wrap, locale. Is this even relevant to what I'm looking for? Text. Yeah, this is still text. Okay. Rich text. Yeah, this is still rich text. Softline, max lines, dependency, render object. For render object, it has a box constraints, alignment, soft wrap, parent data. Still not color. There is color assigned here. Semantics, mouse cursor, listener, semantics, focus, actions marker, actions, painting response provider, gesture, dependencies, clipped. It's either not printed or size common. Code doesn't change the color of this equal. Get highlighted color, which is called whenever there is a update highlight callback, which is called when, but on hover is called no update highlight, which is called when there is a update focus highlight, and handle tab, start new splash, and handle hover change, and then handle hover change is mouse enter and mouse exit. Okay, so there is a print mouse enter. Then I'll also have a print for so, no. What was this assigned? Update and then get highlight type. That's the get highlight type which is used here. Ink highlight. No. Oh, right here. Sorry. Yeah, underscore highlights of for type for this type. Just pass type. Okay. Command J. Clear this. Okay, so hover and then ink highlight. There is just one ink hover. No, mouse enter. Correct. Okay, so this is for type. What is it? Underscore highlight type. Hover. Mouse enter ink highlight of this type. Okay, so dot color. Not is active. Removed controller underscore color. Probably can be can because this receiver can be null. Oh, receiver. Oh, that's the issue. The receiver can be null meaning like this. Okay, yeah. Let's say like reload and this. Okay, so the primary color is it's a material color, primary color of this thing. Not sure what this color is. It's here. It's orange or reddish. Yeah, okay, so this thing is assigning the color correctly. Mouse enter or mouse enter the highlights color is assigned correctly. Uh, then when it is used, it's not long press on behavior, exclude, and then child. Mouse is an handle, mouse enter, handle, mouse exit. That's the hover things. Sorry, this is taking a long time. I don't know why. This is not as easy conventional as I thought. So the color slash use the resort which is splash and then splash color. Why is this getting overridden by the row decoration? This thing has row decorations, so even if I print underscore row decorations, let's say, then I do this. It did print row decorations. Alright, it did. So primary color is this thing. There is just one decoration color which is green. Okay, so the row decoration that is passed in is green, and this is painting it with green. Row decoration which is passed into this thing must you set it to initialize the pointer box. Okay, so this is the setter that sets the pointers. oh sorry, painters to null, and the painters will be filled, oh sorry, emptied when detached. So it does row decorations at a particular decoration which, and then it says create box painter, which is for decoration. Okay, I suppose this is decoration and not box decoration, correct? And I need to check what box decoration does. Box decoration extends decoration, and it would have the, this is going close to 2 hours. Okay, I don't want to take this far. Let's revert the changes. I have a fallback issue that we can work on. This is taking a long time. Maybe I'll. This is something that is still like workable. Maybe I should not spend so much time just trying to figure things out. Okay, this was a good issue. Keep it on. Text picker and portions. Text no target map. macOS and Flutter example. Show menu is enabled to be traversed if open. It's travel. It's reset to add teardown. No. Add to symbol multi support behavior and iOS state-based animation. Hero assertion due to dismissed animation to doubt. Better text form field label replacement customization focused input vertical label feature. Oh, I did horizontal. This is vertical. Oh, right, text form field label. Better. हाँ. Okay, when I want some fine-tuned detail customization from it currently when the field becomes focused and permanently when the field is in input, the filter floats up to the border and cuts it. Correct. The label says vertically in the center of the border and cuts the border. Correct. While this does look okay for some field configuration, in some rectangular fields it looks horrible for others. Specifically, mine looks gross. I have a beautiful design with my designer. I want to keep this. The problem with my design is not specifically a problem with the text field. I haven't found a package that could do this. Here's the code that does solve it. This problem it's a bit of a hack because it requires external state and container mapping logic to exteriorly handle the border outline. Okay, this is definitely not optimum, and I do not want to do this solution. So full post can be found here. Just type out full post. This is the code. Please take note that the amount float is at the top of the text field. Oh, he wants it to be inside instead of on the line. Hmm. Okay. Please notice how the label cuts the border and move to Y. Okay, this is weird. My proposal having something like this. Okay. That means because okay, so material guidelines. See versus material follows guidelines. This does not seem to farm close. If you disagree, feel free to comment any input. Please tell me specifically what the proposal goal is. I'm searching for the file is. As a matter of fact, my design is very similar to the underline material text field in the label that floats up to the bottom. Not sure border order doesn't mean anything. I haven't find. If you see the section label text, you can see two types of labels. One with the filled text, which is similar to yours, and one with outline text field, which cuts the border. I am in no way an expert here, so I'll label this issue or the message of the team. Okay, this is something that is doable, but I'm not sure if the Flutter team would want it. This is weird. We'll need a design doc for this because the feature is not very difficult to implement. Horizontal is done, vertical would be easy, but we need to know if this is even required. After I just started use the basic for buttons window. Windows. Add support Windows, I can't check for Windows. Add support for material state color and snack bar action text color. As stated by has just just one period that adds support for overriding the background color seems to be given. Just one PR that adds support for overriding the background color in terms of widget and its theme would make sense. New state dependent values like background color should be defined as much as a separate overriding this specifically material color for text color would be helpful. This was for added background color, disable background color to snack bar action. 200 lines. So we added background color which is material state 2. This is material state color. What's the issue? Just one PR that added support for overriding background color in terms of widget and its theme would make sense. State dependent values. Oh, state dependent values like background color should probably be defined with material state for a separate PR that support. Okay. It would be great. It would be good to add support for material state color for specifying text color in snack bar action. Okay. Whether this should be added as an addition to the word text color and disable text color should be disabled needs to be discussed. Okay, self-assigned to this. Also, if this is added as addition rather than a deprecation, will both the properties be allowed as non-null at the same time of CS, which property should be prioritized? Yeah, this is something that I'm already working on, but in a different widget. Yeah, this can also be done, but again, for network image fields due to transient network issues, it's difficult to the application to catch and retrace that. Just a detection, update the setting, update the register detector, just fails. List view sliding and non-flashing, support for Toki, iOS Safari, Chrome, text input keyboard is not showing buttons to flash when hover, turning black and famous could pop up in item position from the added data. Again, issue fixed. Solved. Semantics pop up in your drawn before the background is shown. There's a lot of there are a lot of items. Existing sheet and regular scrollable sheet is not clear. Oh, these are all assigned. Okay, let's find something that is not assigned to nobody. I'll go through a few of these. Okay, let me just open the one that is easy to do and not assigned. Okay, so this is something that I've already picked. I had like planning to do a long time ago, but I haven't got around to. This is assigned, but I suppose I can still pick it up. So this just says use case consistent chip style for all Flutter chips types when opted to material 3. So if you are not aware, material 3 is when a material 3 uh, like the new design pattern that material Google added to material, and you can opt it using the theme data. But when chips were migrated, which was done by Darren Austin, when chips migrated, the normal like it wasn't so much as a migration, but it was addition. Like all the specific types of chips were added, action chip, filter chip, and so on. But there was still an issue with the normal standard material 2 chip that existed. And when even though when we said use material 3 to true in theme data, it still used material 3 chip to retain material 2 style shown below. This is an oversight and create a consistent chip experience, and it was discussed previously in a different PR. So the proposal was to reuse the existing M3 chip style called action chip in Flutter as the default one for standard vanilla chip 3, a chip for Flutter 3 in Flutter and opting material 3. This is a suggestion by Darren Austin. So yeah, this is simple. Plus, it would be nice to be able to link a PR to an issue that can be closed when it's merged. Yeah, this was just created as a new. Yeah, so this is simple. Only the only thing that we need to do is just open chip.dart, and this thing is wrong. Wait, why is this like this? Not sure. Okay, so chip is when all the with all the details given, just so this is still raw chip. Yeah, so chip return like passes all these attributes here and then just returns raw chip. But the only thing we need to do here is if theme dot of dot use material 3 is true, this is supposed to return action chip with all the details as passed in above. This is very simple, I suppose, to understand. Oh, what I'm doing is not here. It just oh right, I already explained on how to become contributor in Flutter. Yeah, like this is what like there are different ways to do this as I explained previously, but this is exactly what I'm doing. Like how to become a contributor, just pick an issue and then work on it and raise a PR for it. So yeah, let's see. I'm not sure. I'm assuming all these parameters can be passed into Roger. Let's see. Okay, deleted icon on deleted and stuff like that isn't present. So, oh right, there was something that said that chip cannot be supplying a non-null on deleted callback will call the chips to include a button for deleting the chip. Action chip not deletable. Let's see. Let's just set from the API. So if I go to chip and action chip, a material design chip sets operations to trigger an action chip to trigger an if we trigger, they cannot be disabled. If action is not applicable, the chip should not be included. If this contrasts with buttons where multiple choices are present. Oh, wait, no, that's I don't think that's. Oh, action chip is something that is supposed to be migrated instead of right. It has a enable non-enable state, and depending on is enabled, defaults will be used like this. Otherwise, the defaults will be okay. Tab enabled false. So, will cause the chip to include a button for deleting the chip. Okay, but what deleting something that is deleting chip. It has the defaults. This is fine, but I don't think deleting the chip works in that case. Since material 3 does not support deleting, is that it? But this thing has a disabled chip now, and that this chip cannot be deleted. Okay, let's try to understand what chips work. I am just thinking about myself and then this thing. Let's get in touch. Label being hello. Oh, label has to be text. Start. Why doesn't that print as? Oh, here I have saved it. It's key error. Oh, wait. Haha. Let me fix this. Oh, that's why it wasn't refreshing. Sorry about that. Stupid mistake. Then if I do want to delete it. No, but this thing says that if deleted, call back. So there is a cross button on this one. Deleted. Got it. So there is on deleted icon. Deleted message to tip use. Okay. So chip can be deleted, but oh, it's action. Nah. Okay. So on deleted is that should be an action. Action chip are set options that trigger related to primary content action chips. Here dynamic contextual to the action chips are triggered. Can trigger an action. So they cannot be disabled. The action is if the action is not applicable, the chip should not be included in the interface. No, this is wrong. Like this is already a issue is already raised for this that action chips can be disabled now after material 3 came. In material 2 it was not able to be enabled, but now it can be disabled. It is quite an unproductive day for this thing because chip supports deleting, but action chip does not support deleting. Wait. Let's just instead of doing this, I can have the defaults here. So let's use that instead. I can get the default properties from here. So if action chip defaults, if it is using this, cannot register as number, and still deleting will work. But this is private, so I still need to figure that part out. So let's go into the chip database. That's in dev tools gen defaults. So if you're unaware about this, this is just material 3's um, yeah, after material 3 came out, defaults have been placed somewhere someplace else instead of the widget itself. Dev tools gen defaults, then lib bin. Yeah, these are for all the things, right? And this would also include action. No, what? Oh, app part template templates, but this still doesn't have chip action template. Chip action template. Ah, this is the runtime, right? So this also updates action chip. So this should also update chip. That's what I'm saying. This should also update chip. Just chip. Chip when material 3 chips defaults when in material 3 should be same as action chip. So instead of actually creating a new chip, I need the functionality. Oh, sorry, actually, like relaying chip into action chip that I was trying to do here. I will be passing the defaults. That's the UI part for action chip. Oh, sorry, for raw chip. So the action defaults, that's the material 3 defaults for action chip when in material 3 would be passed the into raw chip directly. So the UI would be similar to action chip, but the functionality will be chipped would be chipped. Yeah, so this thing, and then run this. There was a command to run this. Yeah, this thing. So again, I have to use master dart. So I do master this thing. Oh, I need to do it from the so dot dot, not in flutter, not even in package, from flutter, right? Yeah. Such file or directory. Chip underscore action is, I didn't even add this. 113. You're correct. I didn't even add this. What's this throwing an error? Wait, chip underscore action doesn't exist. This is what material lib. That's material. And then, oh no, not this, not examples. Material. And then chip underscore action doesn't exist in material. Yeah, it's action underscore chip. Why is it? Why does gen involve? It should be action underscore chip. Maybe this is a mistake there. Stuff was renamed incorrectly. Chip underscore filter. Oh, all of these are changed, but it wasn't changed here. ABCDEF filter chip. Yeah, and this is chip action and chip filter. This is not chip filter, it has been changed to filter chip. Okay, so this is also an error. This is also a bug. So now we have found a bug that we can fix. Let's fix that first. Let's see, because it may cause issues later. And then this is chip choice, which is similar to chip filter, seems like. So you understood this bug that the file names have been changed as assumed, but the corresponding file names here haven't been changed. And yeah, let's run that again. Another error, chip input. Okay. Oh, right, just below this underscore chip. So this is been changed to input chip, and then this works. Okay. So this is a bug. Let's see when this was changed. GitHub flutter pulls, and then this would be, oh, added input icon theme. Oh, right, this was the, yeah, right, correct. This is, I'm looking enclosed. Enclosed. What was it? Input underscore chip. Let's see. Chip underscore input. Again, not what, this would be chip. Yeah, okay. Chip, rename files. Okay, so this is something that files were renamed here. Action chip, action choice chip, filter chip, input chip, action chip, filter chip, material. Yeah, so this was a migration from chip action to action chip. Okay, so this is the issue where, like, this is the file where this was changed. It was all were migrated. Choice, sorry, filter, choice, uh, chip remained the same. Yeah, chip was just comment was removed. Action, yeah, that's it. Action, choice, and filter was and input. Okay, these four were moved to a different file, but the change wasn't update chips examples and rename files. Okay, yeah, so this just changed, but yeah, this is very very good to issue. So the for this the issue doesn't even exist. So we can still raise a PR because this is 100% fix. So this is something that we still need to do this part. So let's remove this for now, and let's start with how we can do a process of raising a PR. So now we didn't even, like, at this point didn't we didn't even need to find an issue. We just found an issue while solving a different issue, so that's fine. So we found an issue, we also solved that issue because errors are no longer there, and these are changed. Maybe I should also rename these, so let's also rename these. uh, Refactor rename, and this should be called action chip. If the font size is a little bit small, yeah, maybe you guys were not able to see. So like these, just these files were changed, but these weren't. So let's change these. These are, oh no 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 no, not, this is not how this do. I need to refactor this. Rename chip, filter chip, and then chip input. Refactor chip. Okay, so we have now action chip template, filter chip template, and input chip template. Okay, so now what I'll do is I'll go to the terminal, I'll I'll go to the template, and I'll GCO, which is git commit, or actually checkout. That's what I mean. Checkout dash p, and then uh, fix chip defaults, default files. Haha. just, I don't even know what this now. Chip default file names. That's fine. Yeah. Now I'll just add the, not the chip, because this is something that we'll work on later. These four and this thing, and then I can just call this uh, rename the file, rename the chip file names, rename the chip file names in gen defaults. Or actually, it's not rename this, it should be corrected. And then I'll commit corrected chip file names at gen defaults dot. Okay, there are four failures. Okay, let's see. Spec has been edited. Yeah, I don't think that is an issue. Spec has been edited. This is it. This is just like, okay, even if you do upgrade, it's fine. It's not an issue. Yeah, upgrade now works. So if I try to commit now, yeah, commit was successful. And then gg push dash, or actually let's just do git push dash u. Dash u is untracked, which means uh, this thing doesn't exist in the, what is it? This thing doesn't exist in the, why am I getting confused? This thing doesn't exist on GitHub, but it exists locally. So untracked is, we want to push the untracked branch. I did dash u. Okay, fix. Let's just call this. What? GG push works. I don't know why I could. Oh, I had to do git push origin. Dash u. Ah, okay. I'll just call this, and then it'll ask me for the paraphrase, and then PR will be pushed. Okay, so now we'll. So this is that create a new pull request using this by visiting this PR. So create a new pull request for this on GitHub. So this will create a new pull request for Viren Khatri into Viren Khatri, like my repo. I don't want to create a pull request into my repo because like this is not a review into my fork. This is supposed to go into the Flutter repo. So I'll just go to git flutter and here I'll get the has recent pushes. So I can just compare and create a pull request here. So this first says that replace this paragraph. So now how to raise the PR? So this is just replace the paragraph with the description of the PR by changing, adding, or y. Consider including before and after screenshots. Before and after screenshot not required because this is a UI specific thing, but we can still add the description that this PR, this was there when this PR migrated or renamed, renamed, what is it, Flutter, actually renamed the chip, uh, chip underscore star dot files to star underscore chip dot files, sorry, dot, sorry, this thing here, correspond, uh, the file names in gen underscore defaults dot became uh, incorrect, fixing that, just this PR renames it to correct. This PR names the file, those file names, file and template names. That's that's it. Issue is not there, so I've just won't include it. But more often than not, you should add a issue for this. This is a very short thing, so I didn't even add an issue because this is an error. I have read the contributor. So this is a checklist. So whenever now we are raising a PR. So whenever you raise a PR, there should be a pre-launch checklist that you need to confirm with all these. So first it is I read the contributing guide and followed the process outlined there in submitting PRs. So this is just the contributing guide. The contributing guide that is in the tree hygiene section that I showed you at the beginning. So these are just like the steps for how contribution happens. So this is the fork. If you're not ready to cover, just like how you should approach in working, contributing to Flutter. This is a very good read for overview. I have read that, uh, so I'll just pick it. Yes, this is highly encouraged for you to read if you are starting to read UPR, both this contributing guide and the entire tree hygiene doc. Style guide is when you are writing the APIs. When you're writing the APIs, how should these APIs be styled? Because the Flutter framework does not follow the framework, sorry, Dart format. It has its own style. So and there's no like save and format thing for Flutter yet. So we need to make sure we follow it manually and then sign the CLA. CLA is the contributor license agreement, which you need to, like, if you raise a PR and if you haven't signed it, you'll just get a prompt that you need to sign it. I have signed it. Have you listed at least one issue in the PR description? I haven't, so I'll not check this. I have updated the documentation with slash. I haven't, so I haven't unchecked this. I added new tests, or this PR is text exempt. This is PR is text exempt, and I'll explain what test exempt means, and all existing and new test pass. This is true. So yeah, if I need help, I can just ask for advice on the Discord channel, which is a very good talk to be here. And then I'll just do create PR. Oh, wait, this is an error here. I'll just fix that. Yeah, yeah. So when this PR, that is update the name, renamed chip underscore thing to star underscore chip. The file names and gen defaults become incorrect. This PR renames those file and template names. Actually, I should just fixes. This PR fixes those file and template names. Yeah, this is something that you can even remove if you want. But yeah, I erase the PR and this. Okay, so whenever I have unchecked this, and it also happens when you haven't added any test files. Wait, let me confirm this part. That I don't think there are any tests in gen defaults. Yeah, it's just start doc. Correct. No, there is gen defaults test. Okay, this is very. It's general and it's not specific to um, the template. This is just if we created a custom template, how will it work? Yeah, so this doesn't test bin. Yeah, so it looks like we may not have test. Please make sure to add test before merging if you need an exemption for this rule. So if we test exemption, so every change in Flutter engine, Flutter plugins must be texted except for the PRs that only remove code. So if a function is if you are removing code in a PR, then it doesn't need a check. Only affects comments. That's only documentation. Only affects directory specific. Only affects MD, bot, and explicit exception given by Hixie. So Hixie is Ian Hickson, who is the tech lead for Flutter. And if you want an exemption that doesn't follow any of these, but still you don't know how to test it, or you're not sure this can be tested, you need to ask for the exception from text Ian. A bot will comment on a PR saying the exception is required. That this bot do not land the PR as such message from the bot unless it is an explicit exception for XE. So now how can you get that exception? So we raise the PR, but we still need to read how master exam. Please don't just CC in his PR. He won't see it correct. Yeah. So don't just CC him. So this is not how you can ask it. In particular, following PRs are not automatically exempt, require explicit comment from Ian. Obvious refactors with, yeah. So a few obvious reasons are refactors with no semantic change. Example, null safety migrations, configuration changes in the aforementioned. This is a configuration change as far as I can understand. PR only affects analysis. PR only affects test infrastructure and its role dependency, and PR is already fixing an existing test. Yeah. So these don't need new tests. So how to ask for a exemption? So you just need to ping Ian on Discord. If you're not sure, you consider this rule. The purpose of the test is to make sure that someone doesn't accidentally reverse your text. So yeah, this is a very important thing. You can't just go on and ask for exemption if you don't want to write a test. Uh, it should be that the purpose of the test is someone doesn't accidentally revert your fix. Ask yourself, is there anything in your PR that you feel is important? We not accidentally revert, and have it before you fix it. This is a good point, but I still need to figure out to in order to fix this, we need to figure out how to test this. Okay, let's see if I don't see how we can add a test for this. This would be a deep dive, like this would be a complete new thing. But from like a superficial point of view, I don't think this needs a test. We can also check. Yeah, right. I just realized we can also check for all the changes that have occurred in this file. We can do view file, and then we can change the branch to master, and then we can check the latest PR that changed it. Migrated checkbox, not one, not something that I'm looking for. I did support for material input decorator. Yeah, we refactor to support material generated code blocks. This is something that I'm assuming has only, okay, no, this has tests. Def, uh, Defaults, and then appar template chip, and then tests. No, not this. Migrate chips, token, migrate app bar, common buttons, update token to version 92. This thing doesn't seem to have a uh, test. Wait, what? No, this doesn't change any tests. So how does this not have the bot message? There are no test changes here. It's just data, jet defaults, and then lib, and then material. Okay, what's the issue with my case then? I'm also changing lib and jet defaults in dev. Huh, not sure why that this should happen. Not sure why this would happen. This okay, but still the logic doesn't change. There are no tests for this. So how we can ask for an exception is just copy the link of this and open Discord. You need to log into the Discord, Flutter Discord for, I'll just drag it in here, and in the Flutter official Discord, you can just go into the hackers contrib like the hackers channel, and just paste it here that and ask for exception from XE. So just to add XE, uh, get a test exception for this PR, fixes file names in gen defaults dot. Yeah, Gen default should be fine. Yeah, okay. Gen defaults dot to um, make the uh, bin for it. Actually, to make this not required. I can also add an FYI. Uh, there should be a way to add a test for this. Just a simple, like a simple execution of this file. If it doesn't fail, should signify tests. Should signify this file's correctness so that it doesn't, so that this issue doesn't occur. Okay. Yeah, this is just a suggestion that no, not FIA, FINE. I think I think should be fine. I think there should be a way to add a test for this. A simple execution of this file, if it doesn't fail, would signify. A simple execution for this file, if it doesn't fail, would signify the file's correctness, so that this issue doesn't occur again. Yeah, and that's it. So you can remove this because this takes up a lot of space, but even if you don't, it's fine. So now XC will review this, and if he feels that this is apt for not, if this is apt for getting a text exception, he'll just add a comment here, and if not, he'll just follow up with me on the Discord. And finally, like, we raise the PR, and finally one question you may be, what is this? So these are all the tests that run. This is a very long list of tests. You can see 88 in progress, and then there are 32 successful ones. That makes it what? I'm bad at math. 8 3 is 11, and 1 to 1, and 1 is pending. So 1 2 2. There are 122 tests that are running for this. So no, wait. Yeah, there are 122 tests that are running for this, and this all the tests are like specific to what is it, different platforms, different folders, and stuff like that. Yeah. So when all the tests pass, then this is like one of the checks that needs to be successful for you to be able to merge. It'll take a long time, but yeah, that's it. Yeah, and then we raise the PR also. Any questions, or else we can wind up in a few minutes. It has been a long stream, man.